We've all been there, right? You're just scrolling through your phone, looking at these perfect highlight reels of everyone else's lives, and bam, that little pang of anxiety hits you. But have you ever just stopped and wondered why some people seem totally immune to all of it? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today, the mindset that makes a person so resilient. Okay, let's get into it. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the comparison trap and why it's so easy to fall into. Then, we're going to put a name to that feeling by defining the anxiety itself. After that, we get to the really juicy part, unmasking who they are. The people who seem to have it all figured out. We'll look at their secrets to resilience, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final takeaway that you can actually use. All right, let's kick things off with that feeling. It's so common, so universal, that a lot of the time we don't even notice it's happening. It just sort of hums along in the background. I mean, seriously, think about it. You could be having a totally great day, feeling good about things. Then you open up an app and boom, it's just a fire hose of promotions, amazing vacations, perfect looking families. And that little voice starts whispering in your ear that maybe, just maybe, you're not quite keeping up. That is the comparison trap in action. Now, that really uncomfortable, nagging feeling, it's not just in your head. It actually has a name. And just knowing what to call it is honestly the first huge step toward figuring out how to handle it. So the most important word on this slide is habit. That's the key. It's this automatic thing we do, using other people as a measuring stick for our own lives. It's not just about, oh, I wish I had that car. It goes deeper. It's this worry that someone else's success somehow makes your own progress, or even your own self-worth, a little bit less. Okay, so this brings us to the core mystery. The whole reason we're here, really. It all comes down to that one little word, they. It makes it sound like there's this secret club of people out there who've cracked the code. So let's do a little investigating. Yeah, who are these people? The ones who just seem to float above all this comparison stuff. Are they a certain age? Do they have a specific job? Live somewhere special? It's the big question we need to answer. The way the question is phrased, it really leads you down a certain path. You start thinking, okay, if I can just figure out who these people are, I can find out their secret, and then I can just, copy them. But this is where the answer takes a really interesting turn. Because it turns out the whole thing is kind of a trick question. The answer isn't about finding a specific who. It's actually about understanding a completely different way of seeing the world. And here it is. This is the big reveal. The secret to being resilient against comparison anxiety, it has nothing to do with your age, how much money you make, or what your job title is. It's not about what's happening on the outside. It's all about your internal programming. It's a mindset. So, if being resilient is all about having the right mindset, what does that actually look like? How does it work? Let's break down the thought patterns that basically build a shield against the comparison trap. You can really see the two different worlds here. On one side, you have the anxious mindset. Its focus is always external, always scanning, always measuring against other people. It sees the world as a place of scarcity, like if someone else gets a win, that's somehow a loss for you. But the resilient mindset, it looks inward. The only person it's competing with is the person it was yesterday. It doesn't see scarcity, it sees opportunities for personal growth. So how do you actually build that mindset? Well, it all starts by asking yourself different questions. Instead of looking at someone else and asking, why don't I have that? The resilient mind asks, what's my definition of success? See, that's about taking back control. Then it asks, am I better today than I was yesterday? That completely changes the game. It shifts you from comparing outwards to looking inwards. And finally, this one is so powerful. What am I truly grateful for? That question is like a pattern interrupt. It completely breaks the cycle of wanting more by forcing you to see what you already have. So we've walked through the problem, we've kind of solved the mystery of they, and we've uncovered the mindset behind what makes people resilient. Let's pull this all together now for the final takeaway. We started with this question, and what we found out is that the real power isn't in identifying them as some special group of people over there. The power is in understanding the why, the internal machinery that makes that resilience possible in the first place. And that's the final thought I want to leave you with. We started this whole journey trying to figure out who they are, but the real discovery is that they can be any one of us. So the ultimate question isn't about finding some secret, resilient group. It's about realizing that this resilience is a mindset, and it's a mindset that you can choose to build for yourself, one thought at a time. Thanks for watching.